very, very intense. They changed their whole diet over that 10-month period so that these women could look completely beautiful. Anyway, so they go before the king, and out of all the women, he saw this one young woman named Esther. And she thought she was the most beautiful woman ever, so he said, bring the crown, put it on her head. I want her to be my queen. So he picked Esther. And so, of course, Esther was related to this man named Mordecai. And they were a Jewish family, and he told her, he said, when you go to the king, make sure you don't tell them who you are, because, they wanted to keep it a secret. And so she didn't tell anyone that she was Jewish. And over time, the king still loved her very much. She was highly favored and stuff like that. And then there was this man named Haman. He was one of the officials in the palace. And, he's one of those people who wanted to get above everybody else and would do whatever it takes to be the most important, the most worshipped person ever. And so he got the king to like him very much, and the king made this decree saying, you have to bow down before Haman when you see him, so every time he passes by, you got to bow down before him. And Mordecai, Esther's cousin, decided that, I don't bow down to any man, just to the living God. Nobody else I bow down to. So whenever Haman passes by, he doesn't even bow down to him, and Haman would get very mad and very upset. And it just got really bad. So his friends would say, you know what? Why are you taking this? Why don't you go before the king and try, fix this? And so he goes before the king, and the king, he gets him, but then he starts thinking, he said, you know what? Mordecai is a Jew. Why don't I just get rid of all of them, not just him, because he was very angry. So he went to the king and he told him, he said, there's these people in your kingdom. They have their own little ways, basically try to get the king to not like the people. And so the king said, okay, do what you think, So he passed this decree and they sent it out to the province saying that on this day of this month of this year, he's going to have, basically you can kill the Jewish people. That's what he said. And so they go around. Haman's very, very happy about this, and of course Mordecai and everybody, all the Jewish people, are very, very scared. So I want to actually read it for you guys. This is what he said. It said that basically you can kill them and you can take their possessions. So that was what he said. So Mordecai found out about this. He started crying, put on sackcloth, sort of like a mourning symbol, and say, you know what? Because he knows what's going to happen. If these people attack the Jewish people, they're all going to be destroyed. And, he's a Jew. He doesn't want that to happen. So he goes, and I guess Esther finds out that he's, acting this way, and she tells one of the officials, go find out what's wrong. Go ask him what's going on. So Mordecai tells her exactly what happens. He shows her the decree and everything. Well, with the official, he gets to show Esther what happens. And then Esther sends these words back to her. He said, basically Mordecai asked her, can you go before the king and talk to him, But Esther tells him that all the king officials and the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king without being summoned by the king, they basically get put to death unless he puts out his scepter to say that it's okay for them to approach. If he doesn't do that, you pretty much die automatically. So she hadn't seen him for a little time, so she was afraid of going before him. So Esther sends that message back to Mordecai. Well, Mordecai, sends this answer back to her. He says, do you think that because you are in the king's house, you of all the Jews will escape? For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, so somebody else might help them. But you and your family will perish. So if you choose not to help, somebody else might help, and your family will probably end up dying because you choose not to do something. And then he also says something, I think that's the most important part of this. He says, and who knows, but that you have come to your royal position for a time like this. So basically saying, maybe you were risen up to where you are, becoming queen. I mean, who would have thought just a everyday girl raised up to being the queen? And he's saying maybe you got to that position for a reason. Maybe you're there, maybe God saw what was going to happen in the future. He saw that his people were going to be destroyed, and so he put you there so you could do something about it. So he's saying maybe you were being put in that position. And that's, this story is maybe it's a different time and her situation is a little different, but each of you guys have a different purpose in life. You have something that you're contributing to the world, and God will guide your path, and He'll bring you to a certain point, and it'll line up perfectly for you to do something about. And you don't know what it is yet, but when you get there, you just have to say, you know what? I understand now. This is what I'm supposed to do, and you have to accept it. That's the most important thing. If Esther doesn't do something about it, these people will get destroyed. And that's what Mordecai's telling her. He said, you're probably put there for a purpose. So I think she thinks about it, and she realizes, you know what, Mordecai's right, so I need to do something about this. So this is what he tells her. He said, Esther tells Mordecai, he says, go gather together all the Jews, do not eat or drink for 3 days and 3 nights. And I and my attendants will fast, and when you're done doing this, then she'll go before the king. And she says, and if I perish, I perish. So if I get killed for going down to see the king, then I get killed. But at least she tried. You see? So Mordecai did what she said. And so Esther comes up with this plan. So she says, she goes to the king, he pulls out his scepter, of course, and he asked her, he said, Queen Esther, what is your request? Even if it's half of my kingdom, I'll give it to you. So she said, if you're pleased with me, king, I want you and Haman, the same guy that asked for the Jewish people to be killed, I want you guys to come to a banquet, a big, huge banquet, lots of food and stuff like that. So, Haman's excited. I get to go sit with the king and the queen. That's what he always wants, to be the top person. So, of course, they go. And the king goes there and he asks her again, what is it that you want? Even if it's half my kingdom, I'll give it to you. And then she said, if I please you, come back to another banquet, and tomorrow. And then the king's like, okay, and bring Haman with you. So Haman goes home. He's very happy. He tells his wife, I had lunch or whatever it was, dinner with the queen and the king and stuff like that. He sees Mordecai. He gets very mad, but then he thinks, you know what? In a little while, these people are going to be destroyed, so I won't let him bother me anymore. But what he does do is he goes outside and he has them build this really tall pole. That is a pole he was planning on killing Mordecai and putting him there to say, as an example, basically that's his enemy, and he destroyed his enemy kind of thing. So they go back to the banquet, and then the king asks again. He said, what do you want, Queen Esther? And he says, even if it's half my kingdom, I'll give it to you. So Esther tells him, she said, if I have found favor with you, your majesty, and if it pleases you, grant me my life. This is my petition. And spare my people, this is my request. For I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, killed and annihilated. If we had merely been sold as slaves, I would have kept quiet, but no such distress would justify disturbing the king. King Xerxes asked Queen Esther, who is he? Who is this man? The man that has dared to do such a thing? And then, of course, she points to Haman and says, that's the adversary. That's the one that said that, that you basically, he wants to kill her. And then the king goes out very, very mad. He just, thinking about what he's going to do to Haman. Now, Haman, you got to remember, is this high official, What is he going to do? So he goes out, and he comes back in. And, of course, Haman had just turned to Esther, and he's begging her, please, save me. Don't let him kill me. And the king says, will he even molest the queen while she is with me in the house? So then what the king decided, okay, what is he doing? And then one of the king's officials says, there's a pole outside of Haman's house. And the king says, go put him there, instead of Mordecai. He ends up putting Haman on the pole instead of Mordecai. So then the queen says, you know what? You got to understand, in those days when they pass a law, it's law. He can't take it back. So even though he said it, that the people should be destroyed on that day, he can't say, don't, I take that law back. He can't do that. Once it's set in stone, it's kind of like set in stone. So what the king comes up with is he tells them, he says, they pass another decree, which says that the Jewish people on that day can fight. They can defend themselves. And anybody that they defend, they can take their goods, their possessions, or anything like that. So basically, it gave them a right to defend, and they wouldn't be destroyed. So that took place over a certain amount of time. But the reason I wanted you guys to see that story is to understand that Esther took up her purpose in life. She said, you know what? I'm not going to be. I am afraid, but I'm not going to live past that fear, and I'm just going to do what I need to do. If I die, I die. But at least I've tried. I've done what I needed to do to help my people. like I said, each of you guys have a purpose in life. You guys need to follow that purpose. She had a big, big purpose. But, like I said, each of you guys have something that you need to contribute. You know, in our hearts, we have dreams and desires, things that we want to do. And those things are in our hearts because God put them there. He put them there because, you know, in your heart you may say, I want to be this, I want to be a truck driver, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever it is. But in your heart, you know, that's what I keep feeling. You don't know how you're going to accomplish it. You don't know how you're going to do that. But you have that dream inside, and if you just keep working towards that dream, you'll get that. You know, it's not like you wake up tomorrow, you're an adult, and then you wake up the next day and you're a doctor. It doesn't happen like that. It takes years and years and years of hard work. People do all sorts of things to get to where they want to be in life. You know, it's like, and not everybody who, you hear of these really, some people, you read their stories about their life and where they come from. Some people come from absolutely nothing. They come from the poorest regions in poor countries. And because they have a dream, they get to some places you would never even imagine or dream they would be at. But because they were determined to do so, they had it in their hearts, and they would do whatever it takes to get to that point. You know, each of you guys, right now you're very young, and you're still dreaming, going between what you want to be and stuff like that. But when you get that idea of what you want to do, stick with it. Keep working at it, you know? Don't let anybody take that away from you. Don't let anybody take that dream away from you. You guys always hear about these famous people. Bill Gates. You guys all know who Bill Gates is, right? Yeah. One of the richest man in the country.
He created
not the internet, the Windows programming. Yeah, but I know the computer stuff. Einstein. You guys all know who Einstein is, right?
Yeah.
Right, but these people are famous. But were they always famous?
No.
They had to do something to get there, right? They had to work hard to get there. And you guys right now, we see you guys as teens. Who knows which one of you is going to become the next president of the United States? Who's going to be the next famous basketball player? Who's going to be a mission, a pastor? You know, everybody has a different purpose. And I think that's what I want you guys to understand. You don't all have to be doctors and lawyers to do what you need to do in life. You each have, everybody has something different. Everybody can, some people are pastors, and that's what they're called to be. And some people are called to be, I don't know, there's many other jobs out there. But everybody has something that they want to do. If we all had the same purpose, this world wouldn't function. If we were all presidents, who would listen to who? Me. Who would listen to who? Nobody would listen to anybody. But some people are called to be public speakers, and they can do those jobs. Some people like to be in a little room inventing computer games. That's what they do. But you have to do what you feel is right in your heart and what you want to do. I want you guys to understand also that there's a difference between purpose and getting rich. You can become very, very rich and successful but not happy because in your heart you know that's not what you wanted to do in the first place. Maybe you think, okay, once I get all the money and stuff in the world, I'll be happy. I gotta be honest with you, sometimes the more money you have, the more problems you have. It's not always the best thing. But if you get what you're supposed to do, because when you don't have that, when you don't do what you're supposed to do, you have a void in your heart. But as soon as you start working towards that purpose, it just feels so much better. You start getting more fulfilled, and once you finally achieve that goal, it feels so much better. It probably feels so much better than all the money you can achieve in the world. Because money can't buy. If money could buy happiness, a lot of those rich people would be very, very, very happy. But it doesn't bring happiness. You know, it's like, I'm not saying that you guys shouldn't achieve for nice things in life. You should. Go for it. Why not? But just don't make that your everything. You know, make sure that you are happy with where you are. When you guys, you know you have a purpose, like I said, a direction, getting there is hard. So you have to have somebody help you get to that purpose, and the best one, of course, is God. He's the one that's going to show you how to get there. And each day what I do in the morning is I pray, and I say, God, I don't know what I'm supposed to do today. Help me to fulfill the purpose that you have for me to do today. And then I said, you know, guide me and show me what I need to do, and thank you for wanting me to do something for you. I think we have the wrong idea about God. It's always more of like, what can God do for me? God bless me. God do me this stuff for me. But you got to realize the other way around is very important too. It's a privilege to serve God. It's a privilege to honor Him. Out of all the millions or billions of people on the earth, He knows every one of you, and He has something for you. Doesn't that make you feel special that He knows who you are out of everybody in this world? You know? I mean, it's like you have to understand, you know, I am so happy that I can serve you. I'm so happy that you know who I am. You know, I always, you know, it's always like you hear people, what God can do for me. It shouldn't be that way. In Proverbs 3:6 it says, seek His will in all you do, and He will show you the path. So you just got to ask Him, God, help me. Like I said, you can get up in the morning and pray 5 minutes, 2 minutes. It's not hard to say that. God, help me to do today what I need to do for you. Really simple like that. It's like talking to your friend. You just say that to him. Help me to do what you need me to do today. You can also talk to Him in worship. You see when we sing the songs, one of the songs that we sang today, it says, when you call, I won't refuse. Each new day again, I'll choose. You know, when you stand up here and they're singing the song, this is another way of asking Him, God, tomorrow, you know, when you call me, whatever it is that you want me to do, I'll do it. You know, I don't know what it is, but I won't refuse to do it. It's as simple as that. And sometimes when you're going through to the purpose, it seems like it's not making sense, or it's very difficult, or it's hard to do. Just say, God, give me the strength to get through this. Give me the strength to get to the next day, you know. And they always say God never gives you more than you can bear. So if He's giving you more problems, He probably knows you can handle it. And you learn a lot more from the mistakes you make in life than you could ever imagine. Because if everything went perfectly, how would you grow? How would you know what to do next? If everything was perfect, you know, it's not a perfect. It's not going to work that way. You have to understand, and you have to also understand that God, like I said, God knows each and every one of you, and you have to understand the extent. He doesn't just know your name; He knows every detail about your life, and He knows you. I think the Psalm that I have says it much better. It says, it's Psalm 139. It says, "You have searched me, O Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit down. You know when I stand up. You know you perceive my thoughts from far away. You discern my going out, my lying down. You're familiar with all my ways." Now think about that. A God who has billions of people to look at, but yet He knows every single thing about every one of you. Doesn't that show how much love He has for each person? Think about the other. He is a God of all the earth. Does He really need us? No. He doesn't really need people. But He chooses to love us. He chooses to care about us. He wants to make sure that you guys, you know, I just want you guys to understand that you go in a crowd, there's all these people, but just remember that each of you has something to contribute to this world. You each have something to contribute. And the psalm continues, it says, before a word is on my tongue, you know it, Lord, completely. You hem me in behind and before. You lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light will become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like day, for the darkness is as light. And this is my favorite part. It says, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. So even before you were in this world, He already knew everything. You know? I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. There's another thing. You are wonderfully made. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything in life. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot accomplish your goals. Because you know what? Do it so you can show them that you can actually do something. People tell you, you know, you're never going to amount to anything. You're not going to do something like do it and show them that, you know what, God has a purpose for me and I can do whatever I want to do in life. It says, I know the full well. If my frame was not hidden from you. When I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth, you saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book, before one of them came to me. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, there would not number the grains of sand when I wake up. I am still with you. There's also another verse in the Bible that says, He knows how many hairs are on your head. To us, that's not significant, but it's just to show you the significance of how much He understands you and cares about you. You know? My sisters and I, we all, we're all going to college and stuff and doing that sort of thing. But I mean, I went to college for 11 years and I finished my degree. But my ultimate goal in life has always been to be a surgeon. That's what I've always wanted to follow my path on. And the video that Jeff showed is like a perfect example of what I want to do for myself. Is yes, I want to be a surgeon, make good money, live a good life, but for me, I know that's never going to be fulfilling enough for me. I always tell my friends, it's like I would love to spend 9 months of my year working in a regular hospital and 3 months volunteering somewhere else. Because how can you know that there's so much need out there and not want to make a difference? How can you know there's so many people that need you to help them, and how can you not care? I just don't understand. I don't understand that. How can you not care? You know? It's like every time I see those you saw the poor baby with the hand, right? And you guys were all like, ew, the one that was bleeding, the baby. It's like, it's like not all of us, are gifted to deal with that. But for me, that sort of thing, I feel like I can actually do something about that. That's, for me, I've worked in hospital and that sort of thing I feel like I can deal with. And so that's what I feel like my contribution can be in this world. That's what I can do. That may not be your thing. You have something else that you can contribute in this world. Maybe you're a business person or whatever. But make sure that whatever you do, don't ever walk away and don't include God in your life. Make sure that even if you're successful and the highest achiever and has money, make sure that you always include God as part of your life. Because you don't want to get to the top and just forget about God. Oh, I've already made it, and forget about Him. Because as how much as easy it was to get up there, you can also fall right back down again. It's not hard for you to fall right back down. God can remove His hand off your life, and everything will fall. You got to remember He's in control of everything. I always remember that every day. And I always remember that I wouldn't be where I'm at without Him. So I thank Him for that, So if there's one thing I want you guys to remember from everything I've said, is that each day of your life is significant. And that you wouldn't be here today if God didn't want you to be here in the first place. He gave you today. Remember that for yourself. He gave you today to do something important for Him. And what you do may not seem important to others, but it's important to God, and that's really all that matters. Once it's important to God, that's what really matters most, is what He thinks, not what other people think, okay? Other people have their own measures of success. They have their own measures of what's important, but God has His own way. That's why He's God and they're not. So, I want each of you guys to think about it. What do I want to do in life? What do I want to accomplish? And just go for it. Think about it. Make sure, ask God tell me that's what I need to do. That's what I want to accomplish. And then go for it. Don't let anybody step in your way. Don't let anybody stop you. Just do the best you can.